Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We have.
Alan, can you hear us now, sir?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much.
Oh, we were just worried. Who's our fearless leader? I was like driving around the block looking for a place to park. Like, we have,
Blame this guy.
we have leaders and you're
I
part
should
of
blame
them.
you.
I brought you a chair, put your bag in, so you don't have to fight with it.
Oh.
You gotta break this and make it hard. Get my hand. Looks like we just got a message from Sarah. I think we're at 5:30.
Sarah said she will be a little late.
Who will?
Sarah?
Yeah, I just saw it popped up. I didn't get a chance to read it, but she is coming.
She said she's doing her best to make it tonight.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready. No, I don't think so. I thought, I was worried about that too. Well, it might be because we could help maybe generate, this might generate some questions and comments, you know? Yeah. True.
Okay.
You ready? Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. And because it is just a little after 5:30. So we'll start out with a roll call. Park board members,
Mullensdorf,
here.
Cornfield, here. Graham, here. Gunn, here. Hi.
Hi.
Fordoff. I didn't even like look over there. It's like, oh, we don't have any. Thorson may be coming. Tupin, you're not. Who?
Tupin,
Oh.
Chelsea. And we have our staff member, Mike Maples,
Oh,
here.
yeah, he's not on the roll call.
Okay, all right. The first order of business is citizens' comments on matters within the board's jurisdiction, and you have a 3-minute maximum period of time. Are there any citizens' comments in the room here first? Yes, sir. You'd like, you can just address them, Mary.
Yeah, hi, my name is Jeff Sheets. I've been living here about a year. I'm a pickleball player, pickleball instructor. So we're getting a lot of play on the courts, which is very good. I think that the pickleball village is growing all the time. What I'm here to do is just request maybe some resources. The pickleball nets, my understanding, are at least 2 years old and maybe older. And to replace just the net, not necessarily the framework. The framework is good, but the nets run anywhere around $80 to $100, and we have 3 of them. So if there are any resources available, and I could provide all the information as far as ordering those and getting the proper ones.
Okay. You have, you have 3 nets at this time, and you have, how many do you need?
Well, we have 3. That's all we have,
Oh, okay.
are 3 portable nets that we use
Okay,
on the tennis courts.
all right,
So you'd be looking for about $300?
Probably, that should cover that, yes.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
good. You bet. Any other comments?
Hi, my name is Luke Russell. I've been working with the BRTA on Coal Miners Park, the pump track. Haven't had some emails in a while, so I don't know who in here I was working with. There's Nick, with himself. So I don't know if now's the time to bring up to talk about that, or if we want to do it later. Nick passed to me that sounds like that we're kind of at an all-stop up there, based on the state or the feds looking at it. I was just hoping, since I was head honcho in that program, just to get more clarity from you guys themselves, so I know where we're at, et cetera.
Yeah, I think we're working with the Department of Abandoned Mines on it,
Okay.
and they're looking at doing a project up there that would kind of move some of that big berm on the south side, the school piled up, do some repair work where the coal's leaching out, where the trails are,
Mhm.
the road going up there to the soccer fields, some stuff with the sanctuary, and some drainage in that parking lot. And it was going pretty good until we solved the problem on the other side of town. And the same guy that I'm working with on that is over here, so we're kind of stalled out right now,
Okay.
dealing with the Sunset Mine.
Yeah.
I think that it'll be probably maybe next spring when they start work up there. And
Okay.
I kind of want to just, there was some problems, well, not problems, there were some people within the department that were hesitant to come back and work up there and putting money into it because of some of the disturbance that came afterwards, so we're not gonna disturb it until we get through this.
Okay, yeah, so that's cool. I just need to know kind of where we're at, because we had on our docket to really start work at the end of July. Like, we had all the machinery lined up and all the workers, so we're gonna do some, the actual work. So we hadn't, it was right before we started, but any real work in it, we heard that, so it was no skin off our nose, we can just put a pause on that. Sounds like they won't get back to doing their thing until next spring at earliest.
Hopefully in the spring we'll have something going. I think we're gonna do some work up there in the parking lot and in that circle, in front of
Yeah.
Sanctuary, and I'm hoping the city will do that for the most part, and I'm hoping we can do that once school starts.
Okay,
Luke,
yeah,
can I just add, so Beth Graham,
hello,
and I was here when we were talking about this last year.
okay,
I think it's a positive add to the park at some point, but I do want to remind that there is a process to go through, and so there needs to be plans presented. We need to get you on an agenda and look at some, plans that you put together. I mean, it's not, we're kind of needing to get away from, hey, we're just gonna do this and then go do it.
okay,
And not have anything formal that gets approved by the board, because it is a city park.
yeah,
And it needs to be noticed. It needs to have the opportunity for other people to say anything that they might want to say about the area that you're planning to do that. So it's all positive, but we need to have a more formal process too, to bring it forward, review it, give us some time to think about it, have some comment.
okay, yeah, that sounds
We're
great.
gonna shy away from entities just throwing a dart, and not saying that that's what you're doing, but picking something and then going forward, it needs to come through.
Yeah, there
And we
was-
have to get approval from the city council also for any additions, changes, whatever, and that is a formal process that we can recommend your design, and then it needs to be approved by council.
Okay, yeah, so I guess there's misunderstanding, we thought we'd done all that, because we proposed.
We haven't seen anything on a plan.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to reference emails we had, I'm not sure who I was even talking to, it's been a few months now. But it was just, as long as you stayed within the original footprint and the original pump track, which is already there and built, that we were clear to just go ahead and rejuvenate it and make it, essentially rebuild it, because it was so overgrown with weeds. There already was a pump track up there, that already existed, and so.
Right.
that was
I would just
understanding.
argue, if you're gonna do it, you might wanna look a little bit at enhancing what that footprint was, because the input that I've had from users is that it was tight, and we may have more space for you.
Yeah.
So,
The plans we bought actually fit, I mean, the original footprint, it had a pump track, and then it had a bunch of dirt that they were shaped in the size of the pump track. So our proposal was to use the entire footprint of those two kind of hodgepodge pump tracks together. And it was sizable, that spot. It's like 100 feet by 80 feet. And our pump track plans we purchased fit inside that easily. And it's a very nice plans. And I'm happy to, what you're saying sounds great. If we wanna
generate, yeah,
make-
maybe in a couple of months, get on the
Sure.
agenda, and we'll work with you
Yeah, that's,
and see what Mike hears back, and
okay.
maybe that you have something that looks really good, and then we table it until we know exactly what we can do up there.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
We just wanna know where we're at.
Well, it
If
sounds like,
you wanna get those plans to me, I'll get them to John And, because they're gonna try and, I think, incorporate some other things, like when we met with the school, when they get up there and start doing some work, we might be able to help them,
Okay.
so. Steve, that's got my email.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll put it to Nick and we'll reach out. The other question I had was the existing bike park that's up there. It'd be nice if we could maintain it and at least keep it a usable entity, or do you guys not want us to even touch it? In other words, keep the weeds knocked back, just a normal trail process.
More of what the Department of Abandoned Mines was concerned with, and where it got, it's disturbing the soil up there.
Yeah.
Because theoretically, and I know it was staying there with a cap on there.
Yeah,
And wherever people have dug in or scraped around, there's coal now, and then their concern is it's washing off and into the creek.
yeah,
So, I don't think anything like spraying weeds or
Yeah.
stuff that's not disturbing.
just trail maintenance,
Yeah. I
you know,
think
so it's still a usable bike park for folks. Does that seem reasonable?
I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
I'll just echo what Mike said, though, when they came out specifically there, and I think Nick was part of that, as we had that conversation. I'm a little concerned that you're saying this is kind of the first year hearing of some of this, and I think that lends to Beth's comments about being part of a larger conversation.
Yeah.
But when they came out, that bike trail specifically where it crisscrosses across the hill and it was down to the coal,
Mm-hmm.
threw up some significant red flags for them, and hold on, this is not how this is supposed
Yeah,
to go.
basically,
Yeah.
there was a guy from Casper, Wyoming, and a guy from Denver, and a guy from Montana there. And the Montana guy wanted to start a project. The other two guys were the, whatever, Brandon was hired up.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, didn't we do this 40 years ago? And they just tore it up, so why would we stick any more money in there?
Yeah.
And we're trying to get them to write big checks.
They should take another run at it, and
Yeah.
he got him convinced, so, in the meantime, I don't wanna improve I wanna make sure the Montana guy gets proven right,
Yeah,
you know,
okay,
we're not up there playing around with excavators or skid steers.
yeah. Yeah, this would just be handwork, you know, so it stays usable.
Yeah, the
But, I mean-
trails, I think, are fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we, schedule this for another agenda meeting, so we can have a little more, maybe take this conversation a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
Because we are supposed to stay within about a 3-minute level
Sorry, yeah.
restriction here.
Yeah, I wasn't sure when to bring it up, so I
Yeah.
didn't want to miss our window.
Any other, comments from, individuals in the room? Yes, sir.
I just had a quick one. My name's Jeremy Battles. I'm here, kind of on behalf of the Whistler Observatory. I think Teresa is about to speak now, but you said in person first. So I was just hoping that we could probably get on the agenda at some point too,
Yeah.
to discuss some
Yeah,
concepts
we-
about.
We missed putting you on the agenda this time, and we'll agendize. I know Teresa has a presentation. We'll try to get through a condensed version of that,
Window, yeah.
and then
Add the
we'll
agenda.
agenda it further.
Yeah, I just wanted to be here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any others?
I got another one, my name's Nick Addy, I'm here
Yep,
for Bear
I know.
Show. I just wanted to see if and this could be an agenda item, I guess, in September, but just to get a letter of, support from the planning board for this, moving forward with this feasibility study, and then ultimately the application for the transportation alternatives.
Feasibility study for
Yeah,
the
for Brewery Hill, so.
Brewery Hill.
I met with the Great West engineer yesterday, we kind of were, like, looking at the site, talking about what this application for the actual program looks like, and he was like, get as many letters of support as you can, whether it's from individuals, whether it is from organizations, or all, just anything you've got that we can send to the state of Montana is gonna be really helpful, so I just wanted to come and, start here, that was kind of where it started for me, is with you guys, so, just see if I could get someone who's on the board to write a letter of support,
Okay,
and
we'll
provide.
put that on
Great
agenda
West
too,
for application.
I could draft a letter and then we could look at it next.
for the next
Month.
meeting.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be great. Thank you, Madeline. All right, thanks. Any other comments? Well, let's go to our online or our Zoom members. Any comments? Go ahead, Alan.
Hi, this is Alan Best. I'm with the Sustainability Board. I see that there is on the agenda for today discussion about the tree inventory. And my question is, would that be the right time, or maybe put on email someone to see if we can put on a future meeting agenda? The bigger scale, I would love to come up with a draft to submit to the Park Board, a request for grant funding for the mid-January 2025 Arbor Day Foundation grant, which would potentially include a tree survey, funding for willow seedlings for the riverbanks, potential another community tree giveaway, and funding for removing dead trees. Should I perhaps wait until later on in this meeting, or would there be someone I could email for a future agenda that we could discuss those potential issues?
What, I would say, why don't you email that for a future agenda item as well?
To Madeline.
To Madeline, yes.
Madeline.
Yeah, you have Madeline.
Yeah.
I think
I
you have
think so. What's
Madeline's
the last
email.
name?
Cornfield.
Cornfield,
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you, Alan. Any other, comments from our people in Zoom land?
Hi, this is Teresa. Could I have my 3 minutes, please?
You sure can.
All right, sorry. Been driving all day. My voice is a little shot. So yes, I had asked last month to be on the agenda, so I know we're not going to get that far today, but I had prepared the proposal. To Beth's point, something that needs to be noticed in a larger discussion among the community. But we are asking to present this proposal maybe again next time. I can go through briefly what this is all about today, and if you'd like me to share the slides, I can do that.
Teresa, I apologize for, not getting you on the agenda. I know we talked about this at the meeting that we didn't have last month.
Right.
And it just slipped my mind.
And that's part of.
Me too. Sorry, Teresa.
If we, can we put this on the agenda for next month so that you have more time to go through your presentation and we can give it the, the attention that it deserves?
Sure.
Would that work okay?
Yes, please, because as you know, planting season is very short.
Yep.
We should get the approval. So, and then meanwhile, I'd like to see if maybe there's another avenue for pursuing the second ask of the city is somehow to open the discussion about will the city ask and or collaborate with the county on modifying those lights up there. I understand the need for the lights and security, but this is just a completely new behavior and something that that really is impacting the use of the observatory now.
Yeah, and I think, both of those requests that you have are going to generate probably quite a bit of discussion. So I think really, as we mentioned before, to give the attention it deserves, we should probably really make sure that we get on the agenda for next month.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Any other comments from people out in the Zoom who are zooming in? None? Okay, we'll move on to our next discussion item. We have scheduled here a discussion on Bee City by Courtney
Yep, Sue's here.
Long. Courtney, are you there?
I think we have the minutes first.
Oh, approval. There's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, excuse me. I got to back up. Yep. We have an action item as approval of the consent agenda in the minutes of the June 5th, 2024 meeting. So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay.
Approve the agenda.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, approved. The minutes of the June 5th meeting as well? Okay, good. All right, here we go. We'll go into discussion items now. Courtney, there you are. Would you like to take it? Here is Bee City.
We can't quite hear you.
It's,
It sounds like a
Courtney
bee.
sounds like a bee.
yeah, not working.
Courtney, your microphone.
Courtney, we are not hearing you.
I think
maybe I'll put a sign up, we can't hear you. Can she hear us?
I'm assuming she can hear us, but I'm reaching out to her via the chat as well.
Courtney, thumbs up that you can hear us.
Okay.
Go to the next person, and she's gonna change computers,
No.
if it's our
All right.
pleasure.
Do we have another individual in our Zoom meeting that would like to make some comments?
Oh, we're on the discussion.
Oh,
items
that's right,
on
yeah.
city.
Boy, keep me in track here.
Do you wanna go down to 3?
Yep, let's go down to
Yeah,
3.
okay.
Just a second here. Okay, item number 3. Do we have the agenda here? Okay, yep, the update and final report, summary of Arbor Day project. Mike, you want to give us a little update on that, and I can help out too, if you like.
But I did the online report for the Arbor Day. In the process, I talked with Lex, and we were about, I think total expenditures at that point, we were around 27 change, and the grant was for 38. And after talking with her, I added, 2 years worth of watering cost to the trees at 10,000. So we have, I'm expecting very quickly we'll get the rest of the money for the Arbor Day grant back, and we'll have an extra 10,000. It'll go towards watering trees and what have you. That's what it was line item for. I don't know what happened when I checked. The last time I was at, Baldwin's, they had like 6 trees left. Did you go back up there?
Yeah, I did. I think there were, 4 to 6 trees left, I believe.
Yeah.
There still are?
Well, I don't know
Where
that.
last time I was there, I
It's been a
think I
while.
sent out an email to everybody and said, if anybody needs trees, go get them. I don't know if they got used up or not. And I think that, just if we do this again, the tone I got from the Arbor Day Foundation is they didn't like that. We have trees that they bought to give away. We need to make sure they're all given away.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of dropped the ball a little bit on that after the Arbor Day. I asked people, and everybody said they're all gone. And then when I went up there, they weren't. So,
Yeah,
but next time, and they weren't too bent out of shape. They basically said, next time, make sure you get rid of all your trees.
yeah.
Other than that, they were really happy with everything.
So Mike, could we plant those in the park somewhere, or?
I feel like
we're
if there's
pretty
still,
full.
if there's still trees there, people will take them.
They
like, we
were
just need to
giving away
advertise.
trees. We should have just, I mean, I should have went up there and checked right away personally, and then just beat the street. We could have found homes for them.
Yeah, that was, the information I had, the trees were all given away too. So I was surprised that they weren't, you know.
So,
Maybe
I
they
think
just
that
got
was,
lost.
but it was a minor thing, and everything else went good on that. We've been pretty successful at getting out and watering them, at least once a week, and we may not hit every single one. We're certainly hitting all the ones that we planted this year every week, for sure. That the ones from past years, we're kind of getting those almost once a week. So.
Yeah. You have a lot of trees
But
to water.
now, we had 1 tree die,
Yeah.
so.
Is that the
What-
one in,
In Coal Miners Park.
Coal Mine?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I just reached out to a couple people that are on a flood street, part of Hauser,
Hagen.
Hagen. So
I don't
can they
know
go
if
to someone that's in a flood zone versus anyone go
they
grab
can go
them?
to anybody.
'Cause, okay,
Anybody in the
'cause I
county.
think,
I don't know if they're still there.
pardon? Rod, what'd you say?
I know of one for sure.
That it's still there, a tree, you mean?
No, that's the state one.
Yeah, and I think they were hackberries, and there was 3 and 3.
Okay,
I know 3 were hackberries. I can't remember what the other 3 were.
Yeah.
But I will,
Okay.
I'll swing up there tomorrow and just see if they're still there.
So Mike, how is the $10,000 gonna be used for tree
I'm not
watering?
exactly sure. I
Okay.
figured, she said, well, do you want that? And I said, yeah.
Would that be hiring somebody or?
Right now, Willie and I are just doing it, so
Uh-huh.
it's kind of covered. Mike, Taylor came in and got signed up as a volunteer so that he can drive the truck, because he wanted to do some watering. We haven't got there yet. Haven't really needed it, but,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how, if our tank brakes or pump brakes, we'll use those for
Okay,
that, so.
equipment or manpower or whatever, huh? But, just a couple comments I want to make. I think it was a great effort by, I mean, we had, I don't know how many volunteers we had showed up that day,
We had 50,
about 50-some
I can't remember,
volunteers.
I put in the report, like 52 or 54
And,
signed up.
they all worked hard. It was-
Roger?
Yes.
I have a follow-up request, being one of those volunteers, and
Mhm. Yes,
I
right,
feel
you were doing
much from personal ownership in some of the trees that I helped plant. And it would be great if we could have some kind of report whenever we know, have they made it or are they having trouble? I would love to know.
Okay.
How many of the trees that we helped plant have survived, because it was just a great day.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful opportunity for us to get out there and dig in the dirt.
And,
We'll look at them in the spring and
yeah.
That'd be great.
we'll inventory the ones that have green leaves and the ones that don't.
But so far,
All the ones I planted, I'm sure, are doing great.
so far, the trees really look good, and they're not planted in some of the most ideal soil.
No, they're pretty
It's not like planting them in black soil in Iowa or anything like that. It's black soil, but it's all cold. And, but they did well, and my gratitude out to Midge and all the other volunteers that showed up and worked so hard that day. And then also the board members really did an excellent job, particularly Sarah and Rod and Mary worked really hard, kind of doing the pre-arrangement and getting everything set up, for the event. And I also want to acknowledge.
Oh, we were just thanking you, Sarah,
Yep.
for your Arbor Day efforts. I should leave now, huh?
Yeah. And I'd also like to extend a thank you to Mike Maples too, because he put in a lot of time, particularly the week went above and beyond the call of duty, that's for sure, so.
And you too, Roger.
Well, the crew planted all the big spruce too.
Yeah, they did, yep, and they're looking good. We had.
Roger? Did you give Roger a run?
Yeah.
Roger, because you.
We've had one tree that hasn't made it, we have one tree that's kind of suffering over there at Roosevelt, but it might pull through. I think I might ask them if I can do a little pruning on it, and maybe we can get it to continue, so. Any other comments regarding the Arbor Day ceremony? Yes, Mayor?
I was just gonna throw out in that water stuff, I know, and it kind of fits into your conversation about, and I heard somebody say fertilizer too, but they have that vitamin B stuff they use to put on them, and that, we could use some of that money for that nutrients and pre-food and
Mhm.
whatever they put on them other than just water too.
Well, and even mulch too, because mulch helps, conserve the soil moisture too, so that if we're looking at spending money, maybe some mulch going into the fall and next spring. So, good point, thank you. And you had a stellar speech, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Didn't I just read it?
Yeah.
And thanks
Okay.
to Alan Best for
Okay.
getting this going.
Courtney,
Yes, thank you, Alan.
Courtney, are you still there?
I'm here again.
All right, we can hear you. Would you like to give us an update on Bee City?
Yeah, well, so mostly it's a pitch to kind of pass the torch to either someone on this committee to lead. But I did do a presentation through the All the Dirt program that the library has been hosting, and I did do a presentation just to a group of mostly garden club members on, attracting pollinators to your vegetable garden to improve your yields. And just kind of touched on, habitat and providing habitat for native species and not just focusing on honeybees, but all kinds of pollinators. And I love doing this kind of stuff, but I would really you know, it's been kind of a goal to see the Bee City program kind of take on its own form and through the Parks Board, but have just sort of a group of people in the community that are excited to contribute to improving pollinator habitat on city property, doing some more outreach and education on the importance of not using pesticides and insecticides on private properties and alternatives to that. Really identifying, you know, areas in public lands that maybe are kind of a hassle to maintain, you know, of trying to get away from manicured, mowed, clean, you know, parks, but allowing some parks to look a little messy to improve more meadow habitat and habitat in general for pollinators. So, yeah, I just kind of want to, you know, talk about what that could look like for the Parks Board currently. I'd love to still be involved, but I definitely think identifying someone who can kind of make sure that the reporting is getting done, that the renewal fees are being paid annually, and that programs are happening. You know, Amy's sort of flagship program with the Highway 212 beautification, you know, just making sure someone's watching that irrigation system, checking in on it, making sure each spring that it's getting turned on and that it's working, and either working with Public Works or ProCut was kind of interested in passing that, you know, that project and not managing that anymore. So I just making sure that things are, you know, past projects aren't being forgotten about and that we continue to be involved in this program and make it better and do some really cool things with it.
Good, good. Are you looking for a volunteer from the board basically to kind of be the point person then on the Bee City? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Do we have a volunteer?
I'm happy to help with like the paperwork part of it, but I'm not like a like I don't know anything about the other stuff.
You're not
But
a
if you need someone
pollinator?
to like make sure that the paperwork part gets submitted, I can do that.
So Courtney, this is Beth. So my question would be, do you feel like there might be a couple citizens that this would be more of a committee-led citizen group that would be answering to Parks Board? Is there a reason why it needs to be a Parks Board member that spearheads it?
Well, it needs to be housed under the Parks Board, so I think it's wise to have a member that's at least ensuring that, you know, any work that's getting done is, you know, like you were mentioning earlier, that it's being noticed in the proper way, that we're communicating with city staff, that, you know, the group isn't doing anything that's not supported by the city. When I initially brought the program forward as a resident, I was interested in leading it, but it was going to be housed as when the Parks Board used to have a tree committee and a parks committee, you know, and so each committee kind of managed those two different things. We created the Trees and Bees Committee. But when I did initial outreach for support to bring to council at that time, we had a list of people that were interested in participating in the Bee City USA program. So I think there is a lot of interest out there from residents to do more and to be more involved. I think it just needs somebody to help sort of manage that and facilitate that and recruit and keep people excited and engaged.
Okay. Well, maybe Madeline, maybe we can, offline, we can work together and see, you know, how we can proceed with that.
Yeah, or if there's other people.
So Courtney, you said you have a list of people who are interested, or?
There used to be, it would be at City Hall, there's a Bee City folder, I don't even think it's, you know, a digital folder. I think it's still part of the old like parks folders. I don't know where that would be anymore, but that was a few years ago, honestly. So I think it would just be kind of starting over and just seeing who who would be interested through garden club. There were a couple of beekeepers interested, but it's really not about honeybees. It's kind of the opposite, trying to improve native species habitat rather than just for honeybees. But I think that would be part of it. Was that Mary Dell? Is that who I heard?
Yes.
Yeah, hi Mary Dell. I think part of it would just be doing some outreach and trying to see who's interested and just having like a separate meeting outside of Parks Board to kind of get an idea of what that group could do.
Okay. So maybe put something on Red Lodge Buzz or
Yeah,
try to get a meeting together.
yeah, we could do that. Maybe we could retrieve that, file.
Rod, were you
That you had.
involved in Bee City?
I was not, I'd
Okay.
sure help,
Maybe we can retrieve that file and we can, find a list of people who are interested in the past and contact them too, so. Good idea. Keep it going.
Okay. So more to come.
Any other comments regarding this matter?
Courtney, you still wanna be involved, right? In the
I
city?
love pollinators and I would be interested even in trying to grow like starts, for plantings and stuff. I don't have a lot of space, but each year I kind of start too many things for my garden, so I give things away. Like I'm interested in that kind of stuff too, of trying to also provide plant starts that could be given away to people. We did that a little bit at the Earth Day events. I would give away flowers with some information on the Bee City program and what we're trying to do. So I'd love to stay involved.
Okay.
And do you think, so there's the making sure the beautification project is irrigated, is that on your radar?
what's that?
The Highway 212 beautification pollinator habitat?
Circle?
By traffic circle.
Yeah, a little bit, it is something, I've wanted to talk to the park board about. That sprinkler system down there is terrible. We need to consider that as a project, fix it. Cause
Right.
every year ProCut goes in there and fights it and gets it kind of working, but not really. And something that I need to look into some more, but definitely what we have there, and it sounds like based on, from everyone I talked to, that when it went in, it was kind of, wasn't the greatest when it was installed.
Is it a drip system?
What's that?
A drip?
It's a mix of whatever, sprinklers
Spray
and
heads
drip
and-
lines, and it's got lines that go underneath the highway, and
Yeah.
it goes all the way down to the beauty shop and up past the, visitor center along through.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
okay.
it's pretty, if it worked good, it'd be great.
What's the big problem? Is it the heads or the
It's
piping?
just kind of all junk.
The pressure?
And they work on it and try and get it fixed every year, and we've almost got it working now, and it's almost, too late. But
Yeah. Okay.
something we need to put I'm gonna look into it, come up with what it's gonna look like to make it right, and then once I do that, I'll
Bring
talk
it
to
to
you
us.
guys about it.
Okay.
Do those, pipes feed some of those trees and stuff down?
They actually go, like I say, all the way down to about ProCut, and then I can't remember how far south they go.
Okay.
But it's
A lot of
good
cheap grass
system. I
in
mean, it's a
there.
good idea.
Oh, yeah.
It just needs to work
Looks
better.
terrible, because that seed's gonna be there a long time.
Yeah.
And it looks.
Yeah,
Big
it pretty
red.
much goes all the way to 8th Street. There's a weird gap where there's no irrigation for some reason. I never really understood that, but they did a lot of work. We got a grant to update a portion of it along 212 a few years ago because we knew we wanted to replace the trees that had died. And then by the time the next year, so it was working really well. And then we replaced the trees that died. and then the irrigation system wasn't working. So it really is like, it's really, the line that was installed originally is old, it's small, it's like Mike said, it's junk. So.
We need to figure out what to do with,
Okay,
just do it right.
That'd be great.
well, we'll wait to hear your plan then.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
And Courtney, while you're there, is there other Bee City stuff that's like, that we're missing right now? Like before we even figure out who's gonna run it or any of
Or
that?
the fee that needs to be paid.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're probably, yeah, if a fee hasn't been paid, I can try to remember what the login information is for it. I think my old computer just had it automatically saved, but I can try to figure out what the login information is. And just sort of see on the Bee City side, like where we need to get things updated. We had drafted that integrated pest management plan. It'd be great for that to go through council for approval. And since Mike is there, to have Mike review it, we had Jim review it when we drafted it, but maybe Mike has some ideas, but that integrated pest management plan is a requirement of the program, and we have a version, but it's not an official city approved version.
and that plan would be included in that file of the information that sits out there somewhere?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is a Bee City folder within the city's server, and it should be there, but I think it's also uploaded if the city can't find it. I think it's also been uploaded to our Bee City page. So if I can
Okay.
log in, I can get a copy of it there.
Okay, good.
And if we're trying to recruit someone to own that, do they have any part of Pollinator Week? I don't really know if we even did anything this year. Just that if we would want to give them a full idea of what could be involved, is that something we would add to the list?
Yeah, and we were trying to schedule my talk to be during Pollinator Week, but I think it was Juneteenth that same week. In the past, I think in the past, like the sanctuary has done something. The library has, been really supportive of the Bee City program. So I've provided materials for them. They can do something through the story trail. So, mostly worked with the library through like Pollinator Week or even just like summer long activities, but they're super supportive if you need an avenue for that.
Okay, good. All right. I guess Mayor.
I took a couple of notes about going through and looking for that folder, but it sounds like the password, either Courtney's gonna remember that she has credentials, or it's probably gonna be a password reset, but I would suggest that maybe that gets handed off to the computer paperwork person. I put down as an action item, we need to find out if there's a fee and when that's due, so we can get that paid.
Yep, sounds good.
But I think you guys have got to get that login transferred.
Okay.
And reset.
All right. Okay. All right,
Yeah,
well,
the annual fee is $100, and at the time when we passed the resolution through council, that was a question that came up of, it's $100, and a lot of like 4 or 5 people at the time like raised their hand and they're like, I'll donate $100 for this program. So there's a lot of community support for it. So I think if we start making more of an effort to reach out to the community, we might even be able to find people who are willing to help pay the annual fee, donate. We've had seeds donated for Mountain Meadows. She's really supportive as well. So I'll see what I can find out for our login.
okay. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Is our board full right now? Or do we have a position available?
I think we're full.
I have not I didn't understand, but I was filling a position and I haven't re-upped, and I don't know if I'm going to, just because I can never get here on time. So there might be,
Because perhaps, Sarah, we're not letting you go, but perhaps,
we'd have to decide if you guys are okay with it.
yeah, so we can talk about it next month, but perhaps, we find somebody that's really interested in
Bees.
the bee program, and they become a Parks Board member, and that would be like their lead, if that is
Mhm.
something that we can do.
I was thinking the same thing, Beth.
Okay.
Well, and a good list might be the people who made presentations at the library for the, you know, various workshops that they did, prior to planting season. That might be a great list of people who would, you know other people who might also be interested, so.
Yeah.
Probably get that from the library.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thanks, Courtney.
Hope someone's feeding you.
Okay, let's move along to, item 4, Parks Work Update, Mike. And if you want to just go ahead and, you know,
Project
transfer
update
into the project
what your
updates
guys
and
are
budget
doing.
updates too.
Basically, with Public Works and Parks, since we met, we had the Arbor Day thing, which is a big thing, and then Willie's been doing his thing, mowing, he's been working his pool a lot. We haven't had any real kind of projects like we did earlier with baseball fields or any of that
Mhm.
stuff going on.
What's happening at the pool that Willie works on?
The boiler totally went out.
Oh, wow.
We have no boiler at this point.
Dear.
So with.
Warranted
with the-
still?
Yeah, was that
We're working
new?
on that.
Oh.
So,
That was new with the pool, right?
that's got about, at least, 5 to 6 months of burn time on it.
Oh, my God.
And it, got completely plugged up, overheated, and it needs repair. It is about $13,150 worth of parts and another $3,000 in labor. So we're not gonna fix that boiler because something's wrong with it. Been talking with Daryl at Thompson Pools, and he's been talking with Pentair, who manufactures a boiler. It is out of warranty because it was purchased in 2021 or 2, I think. But they are gonna come back with, we're negotiating somewhere between 2/3 to 3/4 the cost of a newer upgraded boiler. We have a path towards getting it working, but it's not gonna be working before the end of the pool season.
Okay.
So the pool's gonna basically, we've been managing the temperature with the solar blankets, and keeping it up until today at about 82-ish degrees. Red Cross advises the kids not be in the pool once it gets below 78.
Right.
It was at 79 this morning, and I don't see it warming up much in the next 4 or 5 days. We can do lap swimming down to, I think, 72 or 74 is what they advise. Once we hit that, I think we're gonna be in, we're about 2 weeks. We were gonna close it when school started, so around I believe that's around the 28th-ish.
Yeah.
We're 2 to 3 weeks shy of making our closing date, which is unfortunate.
What plugged the boiler?
That's been, whenever something major fails, and like with water, sewer, I've dealt with this a lot, and it's like, it always fails 15 minutes after the warranty goes out. There's this whole game of denial and finger pointing and this and that and everything, and it's probably a combination of a bunch of different things. And I think it was crappy boiler.
But you think there's sediments in the lines and?
No.
No?
I mean, there's one thing that, is partly on us, in that particular boiler didn't have an automatic mixing valve, so when you start up the pool and you take, say, 50-degree water and you're trying to heat it to 80,
Yeah.
it creates condensation in the boiler.
Yeah.
The boiler we're getting, and I kind of think, I got a lot of homework to do, looking at what was spec'd back in 2020 21 when this was getting designed. But theoretically, and it was not to be found in any of our startup instructions or operating and whatever O&M manuals, but we were supposed to feather this manual valve while it was heating up so that it wouldn't create condensation.
Manually being a mixing valve, huh?
Yeah, and that definitely contributed to it. We only started the pool up twice since that boiler's been new, and the boiler it wasn't venting properly. I think there was something wrong with the burners possibly because they weren't burning clean. There was a lot of soot in there. And then it basically got plugged up and got so hot it melted wiring, it destroyed it.
Yeah.
The firebox in there all shattered.
That's not too bad.
But we'll get it. We'll get a new one in there and it'll be better. It's gonna be a power vented model. It's gonna have the automatic mixing valve.
Mm-hmm.
So supposedly it'll heat 30-degree water without creating condensation.
Yeah.
So that's
Any part of the insurance policy that would cover any of that?
Right now, we've pursued the warranty stuff, and that's looking promising primarily. So Mike said
Challenging it.
there's some maintenance that we were supposed to divine from the ether that, how to run and do it. So it's an ongoing discussion, and Mike and his team are doing a great job, so.
Yeah, we're because, I mean, even if, when we first, so it happened on Tuesday last week, and initially thought it was a couple little parts, and we got those in overnight express, thinking we'll just patch this thing together. The more we got into it, to get, at this point, to get parts, which I don't think is a good idea, but even if we tried that avenue, we're 3 to 4 weeks out. A new boiler is the same way. So given we can't make the deadline of the pool closing, I'm gonna take some time, work with the warranty people, get as much as we can, and we'll have a new boiler in there by May next year.
Good.
Alan, do you have your hand up?
Yeah.
Alan, Bob?
Yeah. Mike, would you like me to Mike, would you like me to maybe reach out to Sam's Tap House? I think they have one of those solar water heating things up on their roof to ask their experience and do some ballpark initial internet research on that option.
Yeah, we have solar on our pool up in Choto. It mainly just, it kind of assists. You still have to have a boiler.
Yeah.
So that would be something to look at down the road. I know it helps a little bit, but we still relied heavily on the boiler, especially during startup and then events like this where you get cold rain. So right now, I guess our focus is on getting a boiler back, and we can think about solar later, I guess.
Okay. Any other updates? Any other good news?
Well, we had the pool
This
cleaner
trail's
busted
got
too,
stains.
so
We had a what?
the cleaner for the pool, it decided to die the next day after the boiler. But that's an old one. It came with the old pool.
Okay.
But that was only because we had an inspection scheduled the next day.
Yeah.
Oh, and we got through the inspection good.
Oh, good,
That was,
good.
as far as budget stuff, I budgeted a little bit more for the project stuff. Last year we had 80, I put in 85 for this year. And its budget has not been approved yet, so it's not for sure. And that's about it. Parks, we were kind of running hard on parks projects up until summer kicked in, and then, once the arbor they got done, we've been spending a lot of time on other things.
Yeah.
But Willie has been, he's dedicated parks in the summer,
Yep.
so he's
Good.
been on top of
He's
it.
doing a good job. Good. All right. Any questions for Mike?
Like, concerning the tennis/pickleball courts, when you guys are mowing Field Park, you have a weed whacker that you could mow the perimeter on the inside of the courts?
Well, he's got a weed whacker, let's see if he can do that.
It's
So
just,
so jump on the inside and weed whack.
yeah, just around the perimeter. We've been doing it, but if you guys have the tools.
Okay, good. Okay, no other questions or comments for Mike, board? Okay, well, let's move on to, discussion with possible recommendation. Did you give us a budget update?
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So discussion with possible action, recommending conducting a 2025 tree inventory in 2025, that makes sense, so. I think Rod kind of brought this up here a while back, and Rod, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I know we talked, I missed the last one, but the prior month, I know Mike mentioned that he thought it might be premature for a tree inventory.
I did meet with a gal from PNRC Urban Forestry, came out, a couple weeks ago and met with her. We discussed an inventory and kind of talked about when the inventories have been done previously here. And, you know, she made a case that we could do it again. We're kind of almost there. Really, you know, they're neat things to have, but in terms of an actual tool, where the only time I think they come in really handy is if you're looking at removal. It's a good way to go identify which trees, you know, you need to get rid of. And that would be something for a project to look at. And I think, you know, a person could probably approach a removal project here with the inventory we have, because I don't think there's ever been anything like that done.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the trees that were bad, what was the last one, 2017?
2017.
Yeah, they're probably still there and they're probably still bad.
I think we're supposed to do it, how
I mean,
often?
that's the
10
major
years,
reason.
I thought.
I think
Every
it's
5,
less
10
than that.
years.
Generally it's about 10 years.
Yeah.
I think one of our
Yeah, I'd say
ordinances.
10 years
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're at 7 or 8 now, so we're approaching it, so we
yeah,
should be.
we're
thinking
getting
about it.
there.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the cusp.
You know, to do a full-fledged tree inventory like they did in 2017, about 10 years is a pretty good turnaround. Not a whole lot changes, you know, before 10 years. However, going out and doing a smaller inventory or assessment of dead or hazardous trees, that should be more like an annual, you know, an annual type of exercise, not necessarily where you're talking about the species of trees and the conditions of each tree or the planting sites available, but just if you have dead hazardous trees, that's probably more of should be done on an annual basis. So I think we're premature on a full-fledged inventory, and that was, I think I did some research on it. That was a grant that the city received with DNRC to do
Yeah,
that.
and those are available.
Yeah, they're still available, so we might be another 3 years off.
Yeah, I'm just kind of
So-
wondering, I don't know what's happening with, like the ash
Ash borer,
borer.
yeah,
We do have a lot of ash trees.
yeah.
One
And if
thing,
it's progressing up the valley or not, I don't know.
yeah, I don't think it's been a problem in Montana per se.
But I know some parts have definite issues with it.
Yeah, I think Billings is having some
During-
issues.
Yeah.
I know one thing that we did with the urban forestry folks at DNRC, and we used the inventory to do it, is we just went out and looked at I would have to contact them and make sure I'm correct on this, but I wanna say what they were looking at was the older trees that were in poor shape, they wanted to get rid of because they're the biggest host for the
Right.
borers as they arrive. So we went out and identified like 15, over X DBH trees that were deemed in poor shape, and we got a grant from BRC to remove those. And that was kind of a preemptive ash borer
Yeah.
right, management thing.
Our,
That'd be something that could look at.
our severe winters kind of help us a little bit with the ash borer too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, we, Shoto had massive lot, 70% of our trees were ash trees, or they are.
Yeah.
And, we looked at, and we had a guy on our crew that went to, he did like a 16-week-long online thing at Penn State for Harbor, Harbury or whatever you call it. And he came up with, that was his idea to get rid of those bigger trees, and then their strategy moving forward, should ash borers get there, is to get themselves certified where they can inoculate the trees themselves. That's like $25 a dose, and I think you have to do it twice. So if you do it yourself, it's, that's cheap to save a mature tree.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
So that's kind of what their strategy is on the ash board. I don't know if that's what Roger said might be true. The winters here might not, might not make a good home for an ash borer.
Yeah.
We're pretty isolated and pretty high.
Yeah. Just, my casual observations, I don't see a whole lot of problems with ash borer. Ash trees look like they've been affected in this area.
I talked to a gal, I don't know if she worked for DNRC or who, but she was going around doing those assessments. And I know on the eastern part of the state, she did see that, and that was even a half.
Yeah, Miles City, east of Miles City. So we have an NRCS office in Bridger, the Bridger Plant Materials Center, and I think if somebody wanted to give them a call, and they would have all the latest information out of the Extension Agency and the NRCS on where the line is, right down to like counties and parts of counties, so I certainly would be happy to reach out to them and see.
Okay, that'd be great. Any more comments regarding this matter?
So our ordinance says that we'll update the tree inventory every 2 years, not necessarily do a new one. And I think this was created as in working with the Arbor Day Foundation as part of the urban forestry management plan. So I guess we don't need to do one yet if it's not necessary, but I don't know what updating it. I think we have spatial data from the last tree inventory, I think Courtney said that, so maybe it could just be looking at that, adding the trees that have been planted, the ones that survive next year, and I'm happy to help with that, but, and I think Courtney said, there's Leslie Marty, who lives here, helped do the last one, and also, there's someone else, but yeah, so I don't know if that's something that we need to do at all, that's just what the ordinance says.
So do we know if have we been doing that?
We have not,
updating?
no. Well, unless Courtney was doing it, but I don't think it's happened every 2 years.
Do we know where it is, where it lives?
No, I think, unless you do.
No, we have access to that.
Oh, no,
folder, and I
we've
can
seen
go
it.
out and look, so.
Yeah.
You saw it, it's on in our server.
The urban
The
forestry
inventory?
management plans, it's
Right,
there's
but
a
not
folder,
like
but
the
it's,
spatial data, like the.
I think, I'm not sure if I'll check, I'll see what I
Okay.
found. Okay. Right.
Mike? I'm just gonna add from a budgetary standpoint, I really like Mike's, comment that the information we have is that there was bad trees, and they're still probably bad, and they're still out there. So from a public health and safety, I like the idea of kind of prioritizing that amongst your recommended projects list. Not to mention, if I'm handing out a grant, or, if I'm applying for a grant, either way, I wanna know that you want an updated because you've taken action on the last one, not because it's expired and nothing's happened.
Yeah,
And so I think there's a real solid case for prioritizing that and doing it,
Doing parts
so
of,
that it puts
parts
us,
of a full-blown.
yeah, taking action on the data we have gives us the right to ask for updated data,
sure,
not just, we sat on it for 10 years and it's useless now, so please give us another one.
yeah.
It's really easy to do that. You just go through there and literally in like 15 minutes, you can go through it. There's different keywords that are in different attributes for the trees, and you can pull them all out and put them on a map. You can call a guy to come give you a cost for each one, and then put together the DNRC grant that's online. And
15 minutes,
if you
Mike.
if you just put all the.
So why haven't we done it?
Sounds like a lot more, but yeah.
It takes 15 minutes to pull the trees out.
Yeah,
And then, put together, and what we did is we just took all the trees that, because there's one classification, I think it's called public safety risk or
Mhm.
public safety hazard. And you just say, we're gonna get rid of all these, and they score pretty high for a grant,
Yeah.
so.
Can you send the inventory out so that you can look at it?
Yeah, I
Roger, or
think
whoever has seen it?
yeah, I've seen the inventory, and I've got
It's in Tree Keeper, if you go on DNRC, it
Yeah.
should be in there, and then I think, I don't know if I've got it here, but you can pull off the GIS file and then just,
Oh, so
Look
it's
at
all
that.
on the site, is what
Yeah.
you're saying?
all the
Okay,
data.
it's not like
Roger,
an
maybe you
Excel
could send a
spreadsheet,
link
but it was.
Yeah.
in an email to us.
Yeah, I'll
and-
do that. I accessed it, it's been a while back, but I'll look for it again and I'll send the link out to everybody. Just a real quick summary of the tree inventory. When they did the tree inventory in 2017, they inventoried 1,233 trees, and these are largely street trees. They don't survey private property trees. And, there were 102 stumps, and Mike, there probably still are 102 stumps, I imagine, if maybe not more. And, they also inventory, potential planting sites, and they found 91 potential planting sites. And that's how you can use that as a tool too, to if you're gonna do a replanting or reforestation along the streets, you can go back on the GIS and find out where those planting sites are and, you know, determine how many trees you want to replace annually to, fill those spots in. But I'll look for that link and I'll send it out to everybody.
I gotta think if you're applying for that Arbor Day, it's like we have 91 identified sites and we want X trees to put in those 91 sites.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, that's one of that's where, a tree inventory can really be helpful for grant purposes, like in that manner, that way. So I'll look for that this week, see what we can find. Okay, all right, let's move on if there's no other discussion regarding that topic. I have to pull my,
Parks and Project volunteer hours, and I asked to
There
put
you
this
go.
on. Okay. So I asked to put this on, I think we should have an action agenda item or, yeah, something that we can act on next month, if everyone could be prepared. We have a few of us that remember some things that we've done in the past on the Parks Board, but I think two things that we need to kind of thread back in. I would like to see thread back into our meetings. I think they're helpful. Is a brief, like 60 seconds per park of, you know, the host or, you know,
the owner.
the owner of a park to run through. For me, I think it keeps our parks in our mind, that we don't just think about the problem ones at the time or the big named ones. We're constantly reminded that, you know, we have Little Finn Park and we have Rotary and the things that we don't see every day. But the owners, to just do a brief, if we put that back, Madeline, on the agenda. Yeah, and then also, speaking of these grants, the project volunteer hours, we used to try to annually get them into a spreadsheet, especially after Arbor Day. Our season ends June 30th, that's our fiscal year. It's a good time to think back. if you could think about your park, you could think about the things you do privately, personally. I mean, I know we're, you know, specifically, we're logging 3 to 4 hours a week up at the soccer field with volunteer hours, mowing, checking on the sprinklers, flushing the filter, all that. It's very valuable at grant time for us to say that, you know, not only do we have board members doing all of this volunteer work, but we have people that you know. And so I would like us to try to make a valiant effort to come in with some numbers next month for.
That's something we could build into our monthly meetings too, like if we're doing our 10.
Yeah, it
10
keeps it
minute
simple,
or 1 minute.
but where we're kind of still refreshed with what happened in June, we could close out 23, 24 and start to get on a procedure where we do this. Because those, as you know, for the people that put grants together, it's a big plus. And I think we'd be surprised how many hours happen in this city for volunteer work. And I mean, and that comes right down to if you guys are setting up nets at field school for, you know, pickleball, or you go over there with a weed eater and you do that on your own time. We have someone that's field school, you can get in touch with them and say, hey, last month, I did 10 hours of work at field school. And we put your name and everything in there, and it's.
I'd be happy to let you know how much time I put in on that park.
And we'd be happy to hear it, and we'd be happy to hear it.
And I don't know if it's the Parks Department or the school department, but getting the tennis courts ready for the tennis team,
That's
a lot.
It's a lot of volunteer hours, and that's important. Anything that happens at the garden, I mean, at, Pride Park, all those, we really do need to.
Yeah. So if there's a framework for it, or we can set up a framework, great.
Yeah, so Rod is your guy for field school, and you can talk to him. Yeah.
Glad to meet you.
These are the things with, usually we talk to Beartooth Trails, so Luke, if you know, even though maybe you feel like, oh, it didn't end anywhere, but you put a bunch of hours in, we'll get those from you.
Who's the coal miner point of contact?
I am.
You are?
Yeah, you're looking at her.
But I know that there's a lot of former BRTA or Beartooth Trail work that happens that I don't hear about, so,
Yeah, there's been a lot there.
yeah.
Well, and you usually have like there's usually a RTA annual report that has all of that.
I think you have a normal fiscal year though, don't you?
Yeah. Do you know, like, would trail stuff being on that too, like, you know, like airport loop?
It's all,
Midnight Park or something?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we need to figure out if we have a McGillen person anymore, and, you know, that's, oh, you are?
Watching it, yeah.
Okay. So, you know, just to make sure we have our parks covered. Okay,
I've
then,
got a question for Dave on that. Volunteer hours, are you keeping track of any volunteer hours to offset cost on the potential new park down by 19th Street Bridge?
We are not that I am aware of,
To offset cost of the city?
for like matches and whatnot. The 19th Street, so there has not been any, we are keeping track of the dollars that we're putting into that. We also have that, I believe, fully addressed and taken care of, and that's probably, with Chair's permission, I'll give you a 30-second update on that.
Okay.
We're looking at closing on that Rocky Fork property and the city acquisition within 30 days, probably.
Great.
And with luck, possibility of the hazmat and demolition done before snow flies, but that depends on when snow flies.
That's good.
So it'll at least be flat. And the putting in of the park and whatnot is still, but we've got state resources that are saying they will cover that without requiring the city match.
Okay.
What ended up happening on the larger piece of property, and over my 30 seconds, is, it's not that the city has to come up with a 25% match, it's that the federal puts in a maximum of 75% of the property value. So we resubmitted it with an appraisal that was in line with what the property appraised for. And basically, the owners are saying we'll accept 75% of the cost, and then they take it as a donation, which presumably has tax implications and stuff.
Sure.
But that's how, I think, going back to your question, how we're addressing the city's acquisition of it, in the absence of having those hours and stuff. There's a lot of stuff we looked at doing, and it turned out it was a whole bunch of work, and it didn't make it any less costly for the city, and it didn't make it any more money in the pockets of the property owners. And so the focus is, let's get it done, and let's get onto the park part
Okay.
and get there. So
Is this something you can bring back to another meeting too?
I hopefully, because by that
It'll
point,
be
we'll
soon?
be really done, yeah.
Okay, all right, be great. You did mention, and I don't want to belabor the point, but you did mention larger property. We're talking about property outside of the house?
Bastion, it's just the Bastion
The
property,
Bastion
right?
property?
I don't remember saying larger property, but right now it's the Bastion property is all that's
Okay,
under
Gotcha.
discussion. There is a separate conversation that has started with Eagles Nest.
okay,
I wouldn't dare say that has traction and forward movement yet,
okay.
but
Well-
the conversation is happening.
All right, good. Maybe at some time when you feel like you can talk to us about that property, maybe we can have another item on that, huh? Okay, great. Great. All right.
Excuse me.
Madeline, to piggyback off of Beth's point, would you mind resending the spreadsheet with the park, with the agenda next month?
Yeah.
Thanks. And owners and.
You guys have that as like a shared document, you can all go in and make your edits on.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
drive.
we all have access to it?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you don't, let me know. You can resend that one.
Let's just, let's make that point.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but that spreadsheet with the parks and
Yeah.
volunteer, that's on the drive, so you all have the ability to go
Yeah.
in and be updating that.
I don't know on that I'll look for the volunteer one too, but we definitely have that, like who owns the park.
Okay, just kind of summarizes this item. But really what Beth is talking about is looking at your volunteer hours that you put this fiscal year to June 30th and have a tabulation and,
Well,
We should-
closing out last year,
yeah,
feeling like you think about everything that happened before June 30th, approximate, and then we'll start a process for July 1st going forward.
all right. Any other?
Go on hours for the previous fiscal year?
Mm-hmm. If you have them, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
can put them, yeah.
I'll give you some hours.
Okay,
Does
good.
the Arbor Day stuff count in that, in those volunteer hours? It should.
Yeah, June,
I don't know why not.
yeah, because it'd be up to June 30th.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We're at,
There's citizen comment you wanted me to.
citizen comments, yes.
Yeah. So Roger asked me to just say something real quickly, that we did have our, dedication day at, Shelley's Field, the soccer field, on June 17th. It was well attended. It was said something in the paper like land dedication, you know how, right, those are writers, so it wasn't like a land dedication. We didn't buy that from the city or anything, that's city park property, but, I think it's just, and also like with the observatory, it's, and we had, did we have DNRC people that were at Finn Park in June or May? Was it DNRC? Who met and did talks down there?
Oh, it was a nonprofit organization.
Yeah,
Friends of the Clark Fork River.
yeah, Yellowstone,
Yeah.
yeah,
River watershed, yeah.
right. I think it's also for owners of parks to, you know, that any opportunity to, like, the storyboard going around Field School, these are all ways to also advertise or celebrate the parks. And if you think of something that, you know, works in that venue to do something there and bring attention to a city park, personally, I think it goes a long way
Mhm.
for, boosting the city's involvement and all their hard work for the parks.
Right, and we had talked about signage, for city parks, and.
Yeah, we
And that
probably need to
might-
get back onto that. That might be a good winter
Yeah.
project and prep for the spring.
Mhm.
I think,
And on that note, parks cleanup, since we didn't really do it this
Right.
year, making sure we get that.
Yep. Get that back into the schedule.
I don't know, did you say it was public comment again?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we had it on twice, so you get an
Yeah.
opportunity.
The park ownership thing, I didn't know that was a thing. Is that something that can maybe be put on the website?
Yeah, probably can. And really what it is each board member has taken responsibility to kind of oversee that park.
Under their wing.
They don't really own the park.
Yeah. It is.
But, yeah, that's the term we use.
Okay, yeah, it'd just be nice to have that available.
Yeah.
We have some idea that park specific.
Okay,
Oh.
right. Any other citizens' comments?
And there's also no reason why we can't have, citizen park owners too that look out, like if you have a favorite park. I know Chris Thomas still likes to keep Van Dyke somewhat. Does she still do things up there? She was like, I'm not on the board anymore, I'm not on the city council, but,
She picks up dog stuff.
yeah.
Pretty often, pretty regularly.
You know, where you just have that one that you keep an eye on, obviously.
Because we,
Would it be that?
All right, do we have any other citizen comments at this point?
I would just get a bag.
you have updates you want to put on there?
How about Zoom listeners? Any citizens' comments?
All the Zoom listeners are up.
They're all gone, huh? Okay, all right. Do you have a motion to adjourn the meeting? All right, we're adjourned.
I have a follow-up question for Beth once we're offline.
Okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk to Mike about our field thing for just like 30 seconds. No, more than that, it'll be 3 minutes.
So, I'm glad you mentioned the story around Field Park.
Yeah.
I get a lot of comments, and they're not necessarily in a good way. How come we allow, and how come what this, and whose idea was this, and what's the appropriate way to, what's the story behind that, and how that happened?
The library's involved.
The library asked permission 2 years ago. Madeline, maybe you know more.
Let's just take a look in the minutes. Yeah, the library.
And I'm not saying there, but based on the feedback that I get, we probably don't want to duplicate.